this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Welcome to another episode of Get It Right, Texoma. Thank you for joining us. We're the trio, Mike Hendren, Terry McAdams, Tracy Raleigh. Glad to have you back with us once again. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching, that's how you're seeing us. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. We get together here to try to entertain and inform you, talking about local events, regional, state, and national news, and pardon me. Oh, goodness. And international as well. Not yet, but we're working on it.
There you go.
I'm kidding.
Working my way that way.
I kid. No. There was something floating in the air. Anyway, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Be sure to share this on your social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, whatever you got, and then share it with all your friends. And also visit us on our website. It's getitrighttexoma.com, and go to our Facebook page, Get It Right Texoma. And be sure to like and share our Facebook page and let us know what you think about the show. We'd love to hear your input, your feedback on what you see and hear on here.
And we've got some great guests coming up, just so you know. In the next few weeks, we're going to have Jim Johnson, the Wichita County judge, is going to be on. Russell Schreiber, the Public Works Director.
Oh, yeah.
Wichita Falls is going to be in. Mickey Fincannon and Mark Beecham are both going to be in. Those are both county commissioners of Wichita County. Yep. Dr. Stacia Haney, the president of Midwestern State University, is going to be with us. Stephen Santiana, former mayor, and Glenn Barham, also former mayor.
But now as the director of the Wichita Shepherd Military Affairs Committee. I know this because he's
Shepherd Military Affairs Committee and SMAC, and he's also on the water board advisory board in Wichita Falls too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we got some great guests coming up.
Yeah.
My brain was.
Glenn's done a lot of things in the last few decades. He was a cop for years.
Yeah, police officer before.
And he's mayor. Now he's running that. I mean, he's still active and
very active.
Very, very active indeed. Well, we got a few things happening around the area, so we want to jump into our events first here. On the 21st of this month, we have two big things going on. The Zavala Taco Fest downtown at the Farmers Market on Ohio Street. That's from 5 to 10 on the 21st. And then also the 21st is, I guess that's opening night for the Backdoor Improv.
Well, it's not opening. It's just that it's like the fourth or fifth time they've done it this year.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Okay.
I didn't realize that they've done it this year.
Yeah, they've had shows this year. They do.
That shows you how behind I am here.
Yeah. So, but both of them are evenings. So you could conceivably go to Taco Fest if you got there at 5.
Yeah.
And get you some tacos and do the Taco Fest thing, because Backdoor Theater, I believe it's at 8. It's either 7 or 8, so it's a little later. Yeah. You check their website, backdoortheater.org.
I believe that's correct.
I think that's what it is, and that's where you buy tickets as well.
It's not like it's. I mean, you could almost walk from.
Oh, you could walk.
Taco Fest to Backdoor Theater without any problem.
You could walk. You could walk. It's 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. Unless you don't like to sweat, because it's probably still going to be.
And not only that, if you park at the theater, then you could park, and it's early before everybody shows up.
That's right.
Parking space, and then you walk on over and come back.
Boom,
and you support 2 local Wichita Falls events.
That's right.
Once.
Right.
Yeah, Backdoor Theater, of course, their goal and mission is to promote the arts, and theater arts in Wichita Falls. And improv is great. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
It is.
It is adult.
Yes.
It's not rated G. It is rated R.
Yes.
So
expect that someone will probably be offended. But if you're easily offended and you can't stand that, then don't go.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So
they don't want. I mean, it's not they don't want you, but they just highly recommend.
Well, it's equal opportunity offense too. I mean, it's one of those deals. But you are going to hear some words that rhyme with duck.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, but it's a good
and
time. Spit. Yeah, that's right. But Taco Fest, of course, Zavala is the Hispanic cultural group here in town.
Yeah.
And the Zavala dancers are going to be there. Of course, great tacos from all over. There'll be a taco eating contest, I believe. I'm actually going to be a judge at the taco contest, so I'm going to be there to judge. I almost wouldn't mind trying a taco eating contest one day, because that's one. Burgers and tacos are the two I think I could try, but I don't really want to get that miserable.
So many years ago, when Stanley's Barbecue was still around,
Mini Burger.
I actually got talked into doing the Beanie Burger eating contest at the Texas-Oklahoma Fair.
Right.
And I think I got, they were the large, if you remember, Stanley's had, there was a regular size Beanie Burger and then there was the big.
Yeah, there was a regular size Beanie Burger that would have been an extra large anywhere else. And then there was one that was about plate size.
Yeah. So the ones they brought were the plate size.
Right.
And I think I got through 4.
Holy smokes, dude.
And I was miserable. Like I wanted to vomit. I couldn't stand it. And I didn't want a Beanie Burger for like 3 years after that.
I'll tell you what,
Not
that was
even
a classic. That was a Wichita Falls classic. And Willie's, when we'll talk, at one point we'll highlight Willie's. They have their version of the Beanie Burger as well. But that was a classic at Wichita Falls, and that was a great sandwich. Did you ever have a Beanie Burger, Terry?
That just doesn't sound good to me.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I just take the traditional burger. Throw some grilled onions, of course, and maybe some bacon.
Yeah.
Occasionally a slice or two of avocado.
It was.
You know, I know.
I loved Beanie Burgers. They were
did
good.
too. Yeah.
But the guy that won the contest was a guy from out of town. He had actually, at some point in his professional competitive eating career,
Had a career.
won the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in New York.
Oh.
And you've seen
So the
that.
competition was tough. Were you?
He was a ringer.
I think he ate 10 or 11 of those burgers.
That's kind of insane. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm watching this dude. He would take a bite, wouldn't chew it. He just swallows it. Chug some water. Take a bite, chug some water, just swallow it.
Yeah, that takes all the fun out of it.
Holy,
it's like the dip in the bun and the water and all that.
Yeah, I can't. No, and I just, I knew there was no way I'm going to win against this.
Now there is
No
a guy
tension.
locally that does the eating challenges, and he used to work with him at the radio station.
Eric.
Yes.
Yeah, and he does all these challenges all over, and he's been pretty successful at some of them as well.
Yeah. Well, his legs are hollow, so he just.
Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, so great
All
thing
right.
going downtown. If you there's nothing to do downtown Wichita Falls. There's two events the same night.
That's right.
Downtown Wichita Falls. You can do either or neither if you don't want, but we recommend you go check them out.
All right. Well, what we got coming up next year? I know we got to do our local restaurant focus.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. So each show we've been talking about a local, family-owned, locally owned restaurant. This particular program, we're going to talk about Prines BBQ, one of the legendary places in town, probably one of the oldest restaurants in town.
It may be one of the oldest businesses in town.
Yeah.
I think it's from the late 20s.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. I don't know who else would have been. Maybe I don't know who else would have been around longer than that. Maybe a couple of accounting services, or maybe I don't know.
Well, I've heard that Colonel Travis cooked on that smoker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, Prines BBQ, they've been in the same location. I guess maybe their whole time. They're on. Is it 12th or
12th?
13th?
I think it's 13th Street.
13th Street.
I think so.
Yeah, they're one block off from the old Alamo School.
Yeah.
Or not Alamo. I'm sorry, Travis School. Yeah. Speaking of Travis.
Yeah.
Isn't it right? Oh, it's not across the street right there?
No.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah,
one block. The next block from the
going
Travis
east
School.
from
Yes.
the school.
Right.
Yeah.
Going east.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in the middle of the block, but what is it? 13th Street?
Yeah, east of the expressway.
Let's see.
I should have had this.
It is 13th.
Yeah, 1209.
13th Street.
13th Street. Yep.
They've been there for a long time. They make good barbecue, but let me tell you, their pimento cheese is spectacular.
Yep.
And don't sleep on the chili. They have chili. You can only buy it frozen,
Right.
because they only make it in large batches and freeze it. It's not on their daily menu. I mean, you can get it, but you have to heat it up. But I asked one time Alan Prine, who runs it and who's one of the Prines, and I think it was either his grandfather or great-grandfather that started the business, and he said the reason he keeps the chili on it was one of the original recipes from one of the original menu items. So think about this. Chili recipe has been around since at least the 30s, maybe the 20s or the 30s.
Yeah.
And it's really good chili.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. He was interviewed. Alan was interviewed on Texas Monthly in January of 2014. Wow, that's been what?
A decade ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, he He opened in 1925. Yeah,
Okay.
Prines BBQ. Yeah, and but it's a different kind of barbecue. if you've
Terry's
never been there.
fact checking me here to make sure.
So it'll be a century old next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
One
That's
century,
amazing.
so 100 years old. So that is one of the oldest businesses, if
It's
not
got to be one of the
oldest.
oldest businesses in Wichita Falls, if not the oldest.
Right.
I think Huffines Master West, I think maybe I heard it's the oldest business, one of the accounting firms here in town. But, anyhow.
Yeah.
But this is certainly the oldest, longest continuously operating restaurant
For sure. Absolutely.
in
For sure.
town. No, but nobody else, even the McBride family,
Was not
hasn't
operating.
operated as long as they have. So
Yeah. But to point out though, they do have different kind of barbecue. It's not. They don't have a sweet barbecue sauce. It's more vinegar based. Is that right? And then and so it's different.
Tangy.
We always went. What's it?
it's tangy.
Tangy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we usually get the sandwiches, the chopped beef,
Chopped beef sandwich, yeah.
sandwich, and they put the sauce on there. You can get some relish on it, and whatever. But it's good. I have not tried the chili. I need to. I'm glad you reminded me.
The chili's great. Here's what I like to do. Now, here's my hot setup on Prines. Get a bowl of the pimento cheese,
Oh yes. Yeah.
and then just get some beef without any sauce on it, and mix that beef up in that pimento cheese, the brisket, and smoky brisket pimento cheese.
Okay.
It's to die for. Anyhow, Prines BBQ, they've been around for a long time on 13th Street. Go check them out.
Yep.
Speaking of 100 years, I want to jump to this real quick while we're on local here. The Optimist Club, Wichita Falls, celebrating 100 years.
Yep. Of helping Utes.
Yep, about the Utes. They do it through financial support and mentorship and things like that. Big community service organization, but been around for 100 years.
And they're all half full.
What?
They're all half full.
Oh, half
They're
full.
the optimists, I don't know.
I wonder if they thought they'd be around 100 years if they were optimistic about
Yes,
that
I'm
early
sure
on.
they were. Yeah.
One of those jokes. I used to have a dumb joke that I came up with years ago that it would say, yeah, I was going to join the Optimist Club, but I'm not sure they're going to take me.
Oh my gosh! But they've been dedicated.
bad. Come on.
No, it's not bad. But they've been dedicated to the youth of the community for 100 years. They're probably, I think, Campfire's a little older.
No,
Are they not?
I don't think they are. I
Well,
don't think
I think-
Campfire North Texas is.
No.
Campfire National might be, but
is,
Campfire North
yeah.
Texas, I think, has been around since the 50s, 40s or 50s. I believe
okay.
that's right.
All right.
I could be
Maybe
wrong.
so.
I used to be on the board.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I was thinking they were
Let's
older
see.
than that
I'll
here.
let you know.
But anyway,
I don't think they've celebrated their 100th year, though,
probably not.
because I think we would have heard that.
Probably not. Yeah, but you would think that would be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Optimist Club, 100 years. I mean, that's got to be a huge deal. Surely they've got some big celebration planned.
And they sell. I mean, they do a lot of things that's what they do. They raise money to support the youth of Wichita Falls or the area.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they do. They're based on that, based on helping the youth, and it's a great organization.
Yeah, it is for a fact. All right, let's move on here. Tyreek Hill. Terry?
Oh,
Troy?
well, I was just looking for the
Kansas
Campfire.
City, that's in the teams.
Yeah. We're looking at doing the.
Hang on.
Are you
fact
checking the
checking,
history
yes.
on Campfire?
Yeah, Campfire itself is
Campfire itself
early
is older.
1900s.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah,
Early
but-
1900s, yeah.
I knew it was over 100 years old, but
Well, maybe they don't have. There's the 50s.
you'd think they'd put Wichita Falls.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, so Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, talk about Tyreek Hill.
Okay, so if anybody has seen Tyreek Hill, he's a wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. He's the best wide receiver in football right now. Good player. And what I want to encourage everybody is don't listen to the talking heads on TV. Watch the body footage, camera footage. I think there's a long one, but there's about a 6-minute footage that is from the time the police officers are sitting on their motorcycles that he goes by, and then 6 minutes, and then he's detained.
Okay.
So here's what people need to understand. When Tyreek Hill drove by in his McLaren, I think it looks like a McLaren, with blacked out windows and was sped by, those officers on that car, on those bikes, had no clue what color Tyreek Hill was. Let's take the color crap out of it. I'm so sick of that. Statistics show that black men are not shot more or killed more by police than white men. That's statistically accurate. Also, if you think that white people don't get crap from police officers, good cops are good cops and assholes are assholes. And an asshole cop, if somebody is bent that way and you provoke them, it doesn't matter what color you are.
Right.
The problem with Tyreek Hill was, he ended up in handcuffs. And by the way, they should have, in my opinion, they should have not drug him out of the car the way they did at the time they did. But I'm going to put 80% of the blame on Tyreek Hill. I'm going to put 70% of the blame on Tyreek Hill because the cop did get too heavy-handed. And that guy should be suspended or disciplined. Okay? But Tyreek Hill was pulled over. So I encourage you to watch the footage, but I'm going to give you a real close play-by-play. Guy speeds by in a McLaren. Obviously, the cops can't tell in a blacked-out McLaren what color the guy is driving the McLaren, right?
Well, what was the original reason, articulable, whatever?
He was speeding.
He was speeding. That was it. But there were a bunch of cops there.
There were three. There were two, 3 cops sitting there on their motorcycles watching traffic.
Oh, okay.
So this guy was speeding by.
Okay.
They pulled him over. He pulls up. The cop taps on his window because Tyreek Hill does not have his window rolled down.
Yeah.
So he rolls his window down about this far, and he goes, "Hey, man, quit tapping on my window, or quit hitting my window." The cop said, "Why do you have your seatbelt on? Quit hitting my window." So they start this little jaw jacking shit, right? Yeah. Okay. So finally, the police officer says, "Keep your window," and Tyreek Hill rolls the window back up. He said, "Tap, tap, tap, roll your window down." He's refusing to roll his window down. Finally, he rolls his window back down. Cop said, "Keep your window rolled down." Rolls it back up. Okay, at this point, you've now provoked this thing.
Right.
Now, it went too far, in my opinion, but had Tyreek Hill rolled his window down, given the police officer his licenses and insurance, this whole thing would have been stopped right there. There was no indication by that officer he was about to drag him out of that car.
Yeah, would not have escalated to that.
No, Tyreek Hill escalated the problem.
Right.
With his manners.
Right. So, question on that though. At that time, I wonder. I mean, I haven't watched it. I didn't even know who the hell this guy was. I don't watch football. Well, but anyway, was he recognized?
No, the cops
didn't know who he was.
I don't think cops knew who were.
Well, I mean, you'd think if it was Roger Staubach or
well, maybe so, but these police officers did not appear that they knew who he was. Okay. There was no appearance. It didn't seem like that in the
But he
video.
could have played it off cool. Hey, dudes, what y'all doing?
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
All he had to do was keep his window. I think all he had to do was keep his window rolled down.
Yeah, sure.
So here's where the cop jumped the shark to being the asshole. You had the original cop who was there, and he was, hey, roll your window down. He hit it, and he tapped on the window several times. Hey, quit tapping on the window. He's like, hey, roll your window down. Well, that would have stopped it. Then you had another guy come up. Now, the other guy was the dick, I think, was the instigator. The original police officer said, roll your window down, keep it rolled down, or you're getting out of the car. And then he said, no, you're going to get out of the car. Okay, as a police, in my opinion, you're wrong now. You've already told the guy, you do this or this is the consequence, and now you've taken that back immediately.
No reason.
You didn't give him a chance to comply. Now you're an asshole. Now you're being a bully. Now you're flexing your muscles. Okay, that's where the cops turn bad. And then the guy says, get out of the car, get out of the car. And all of a sudden it escalates from you don't give the guy even a chance to open his door. The guy opens the door, reaches in and grabs him and pulls him out on the ground.
Wow.
So that's where the police were out of line.
Yeah.
But I go back to, had Tyreek Hill kept his goddamn window rolled down when he was asked to keep his window rolled down, which to me is not an unreasonable request. If the police officer says, go pick my laundry up, that's an unreasonable request. But if you have been told numerous times, at least half a dozen times, roll your window down and keep it rolled down, and you refuse to do that, I don't care. You could have been Tyreek Hill, or it could have been some pale white guy with red hair named O'Malley. That cop was going to drag you out because you're not complying.
Yeah.
And your compliance, it was a ridiculous reason to not comply. Yeah. All the cop was doing is keeping your window rolled down. You have blacked out windows. If I'm a police officer, I can't see what you're doing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll your window down, and things would have stopped. So 70% of this was Tyreek Hill because he could have stopped this himself.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, you have a responsibility, even if you don't like it. You're inconvenienced, whatever. The police officers are there for a reason. You pay tax money for that, and just.
And by the way, if you're black and you think that this only happens to black people, you're full of shit. You're wrong. An asshole cop is an asshole cop, and it really doesn't matter what color you are. Because look, here's a perfect example. I got pulled over. This was over a decade ago. Wasn't the last ticket, probably the second to last ticket I got. I got pulled over, and I was speeding. I pulled into a parking lot, which, by the way, I'm usually pretty good. I try to get into a parking lot. I try to get to a place where we're all going to be safe.
Yeah.
Because, why not? So I pulled over into a parking lot. Police officer comes up, told me I was speeding, wrote me a ticket. On the ticket, he put work zone with workers present. I looked at that and I said, whoa, I said, yeah, I was speeding. I said, there's no work zone with workers present. He said, yeah, they're right out there. I said, they're a mile and a half back. I said, they're 2 miles back. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. I'll just beat you in court. Thank you. I de-escalated it right there because there's no reason for me to get out and use my fists to try to settle this on the side of the road. I'm going to lose.
Right.
Whether I might win the fist fight, but I'm going to lose in the long run. It's no good to do that, right?
You'll win the fist fight until the taser hits you.
Exactly. Well, my point is, I said, I told him, I'm not going to argue with you in the street. I said, but I'm going to beat you in court. And that's what I did. Yeah. I went to court. I pled nolo contendere to the speeding, but I pled not guilty to the enhancement, and the enhancement was dropped immediately. Cop didn't show up. So my point is, you can de-escalate things yourself.
Of course.
And there's just no reason in fighting the cop. Now, look, if a cop is being heavy-handed on you, that could be a different story. But if he walks up and starts being heavy-handed, that's a different story. But he did this is not what happened.
Well,
this police officer did not.
Even then, I mean, I don't know what you do.
You make a personal choice. You make a personal choice what you're going to do.
But let me ask you.
It's best to comply,
even if they're wrong.
But you got to make a personal choice.
Why do you think some of these officers are heavy-handed like that? What do you think? You think was it his behavior that
I honestly
switched that on with him?
I think it was. I'm going to show you who's boss. Yeah. I honestly believe the dickhead who drug him out, that guy ought to be fired. In my opinion, that guy ought to be fired. He drug him out of that car without giving him a chance to get out of the car. Now, the original police officer, I don't think he should be. The original police officer, in my opinion, was reasonable. He was firm, but hey, roll your window down. Roll your window down. Roll your window down. Okay, how many times do you have to say it? Yeah. It's kind of like that jackass who got drug off the plane. The doctor that got drug off the plane several times. Look, when 3 guys in windbreakers show up and tell you to get off the plane, get the fuck off the plane. Let me tell you, you are going to get off the plane. There's 3 of them there. There were 3 cops there. If you're going to do what they're going to tell you to do at some point, they got guns and there's 3 of them.
You can walk out, or we'll throw you out like a frisbee.
Exactly, but what my problem is when the police officer did not give him a chance to comply. Right. That's what the problem is.
Well, clearly, once you become an adult, you're totally responsible for your own actions.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Now, consider though, coming from trying to put yourself in the position of a lot of black folks that have grown up under in a family, in an environment, in a culture in some cases that has beat it into them that they are completely, they are out to get them. And you've heard this from the time, and in many cases you're growing up as an infant.
That's why it's dangerous.
Adolescent through all the way, seeing your dad and your mom or whoever or family getting arrested. Now, are they doing things wrong? Probably, right? I mean, that's probably what was happening.
Yeah, the police usually don't show up and arrest people for no reason.
But they don't understand. They don't have the mental capacity, so that ingrains a lot of...
What do you mean? Who doesn't have the mental capacity?
A young child.
A young child. Okay, yeah. I was just clarifying what you're saying.
A young child.
You said a young child. I didn't. I want to
Yeah,
clarify what you're saying.
when you're
a young child doesn't have the mental capacity. It doesn't matter what color you are. A young child doesn't have the mental capacity.
4, 5, 6, 7 years old
to understand the concept of what's
you
going
don't
on.
understand. You don't know how to discern between what you're being told as being facts and what's not
because
facts.
Your mom and dad and your family is probably going to be all about, oh, look what they're doing to your dad.
And by the way, this doesn't just happen in black communities.
No, you're right.
It's usually
Absolutely.
poor people.
Right.
Let's be honest. It's usually poor people.
Right.
There's a lot of arrests are made in the trailer park with a bunch of redneck white people that don't wear shirts.
Right.
Watch Cops. Why is it, by the way, if you live in a trailer park and the police show up, you can't be allowed to wear a shirt? Or somebody comes out of that trailer, they don't have a shirt on.
Or wife beater.
We got a wife beater. Yeah, I was going to say a wife beater. Yeah,
but I agree with what you're saying, Terry. The point is that's why I believe these LeBron Jameses and all these people that whip these people up and say, "Hey, there's a target on your back."
Yeah, no, that they are doing a huge disservice.
But the fact of the matter is, Tyreek Hill is an educated guy. And this police officer was not being threatening to him by asking him to roll his window down.
But there's a certain amount of chip on a lot of people's shoulders.
Well, that's
and
your
they
problem.
have that right. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to give him a
You
pass.
could have unchipped it right there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they're looking at it for some people. I'm talking about not necessarily the educated folks. The people who are still kind of in that environment. They just don't know how to behave. They have never practiced it because they have been growing up. And I'm not giving a pass, but I think we've done, I'm talking about the liberals, the Democrats, the people who have been race baiting everybody for many, many years. You have now indoctrinated multiple generations of kids and that they have this issue, and that is, it's just, that's the sad part.
It's a type of entitlement mentality. It really is. You know, I'm entitled to be treated a certain way, and if you don't treat me a certain way, then I'm going to push back on you. And that doesn't know any racial bounds or even necessarily economic bounds, but there does seem to be more in certain economic structures in this country anyway. There seems to be more of that entitlement mentality that you're gonna try to arrest me, you're gonna try to write me a ticket, I'm gonna show you.
Well, look at statistics.
Really?
Look at statistics. Statistics are it's poor. It's usually poor people. It doesn't matter what color you are. Okay. So anyhow, the point is Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I have a right to it, and I'm a pretty good judge of things. 70% of this was Tyreek Hill, and he just kept his damn window rolled down. This would have probably been over had he smiled. Here you go, Mr. Officer, and done. Because I do not believe that original guy who pulled him over was going to cause a problem. I think that guy was just trying to do his job. His asshole buddy is the one who inflamed the situation, but Tyreek Hill, he didn't deserve what he got. He did not deserve to be drug out that quickly, but he pushed that situation to that limit when he could have stopped it.
Yeah, well,
he had the choice to stop it. And then he had two friends that showed up, and one of them standing out there with his hands up like this, and walking up, and the officer's going, go back. And he keeps walking up and he walks back 2 steps. And the officer kept going, go back to that car. And that guy is maybe the one who also got put in handcuffs. But once again, the police officer asks you multiple times. And by the way, then you have one guy's on the phone going, hey, they're beating on him. They were not beating on Tyreek Hill. They drug him out and put him on the ground, and that was forceful, and that was too much in my opinion. And then they handcuffed him. They stood him up, and they sat him down on the curb, and the guy said, sit down. And then he started arguing about sitting down. And the cop said, I think the cop said, sit down gently. And he had a hold of him, and he mouthed off again, and the other guy who I think drug him out sat him down. Okay? But they weren't beating on him. They didn't have their nightsticks out, and they weren't clubbing the guy. So when you're a buddy and you show up and your guy's in handcuffs and he's sitting there in handcuffs, okay, the situation is kind of at a standstill right now.
Yeah.
So if the police officer says back off and go back behind that, what are you going to do? You're going to jump in and have a fist fight?
Now you're escalating the situation.
You're escalating the situation. Go back up, stand back, and let law enforcement do what they're going to do. Anyhow, he was not arrested. He was arrested. He was detained. In other words, technically you're arrested, but he wasn't hauled off to jail.
Well, he wasn't given his rights, was he?
No, I don't. I don't.
He wasn't
I don't.
arrested.
You know what? I don't know.
Exactly
I don't
right.
know. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Well, if he was released at the end of that, he was not arrested. I mean, he was detained, right?
Technically, I think
Did
you're
they transport him?
No, it doesn't. I think technically, when you're on the side of the road and you're detained, it's the same as an arrest. It may not go on your record as a arrest.
But he didn't go to jail.
He wasn't
taken to
That's
jail.
the thing.
He
was not booked.
It ultimately probably resulted in a ticket.
It resulted in a whole bunch of people showing up, and they calmed the situation down and got him on his way. But
We got a football team to play.
Exactly. but it's one of those deals.
But see, now I have to ask this question though: would any other person? Now this has nothing to do with the race. This is, he's a quarterback or no? What is he?
He's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Okay, so presumably well known, but not necessarily initially by the people by the cops that pulled him over. But somebody through this process probably said, "Hey, that's Tyreek Hill."
Yeah, somebody's going to know.
And so I just wonder if again, nothing to do with the race, but the fact that he was an NFL player on a local team, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so did that play any role of him not going downtown? I'm just curious. Again, that's
it might have or might not have. I don't know if it did or not. I will say, by the way, these police officers, I think they were Hispanic. Right. They even if you listen to them, I mean, most of them they had uniforms on, but they all did appear to be Hispanic, and a couple of them had very thick accents. Okay. Like, I don't know, Hispanic, like they grew up, maybe they're American, were born in America, but still grew up speaking Spanish and still had that accent, or were born somewhere else and immigrated here and became police officers. I don't really know. But my point is, he could have stopped this situation. But what I'm tired of is I'm tired of all the talking heads talking about, another black man is like, no, another black man could have stopped this situation by complying with the police officer. A reasonable request. This was not an unreasonable request.
Well, let's be honest. Most of the time when you're pulled over for speeding, you know you were speeding.
Exactly.
It's not an accident.
Yeah, and just shut up and take the ticket and move on.
You know you were speeding, and you're just it's a consequence. It's the risk you take in driving faster than the posted speed limit is that you're going to get clocked and you're going to get pulled over, and you're going to get a ticket.
Exactly. And even if you don't, just once again, if it's not an unreasonable request, like I said, if the guy shows up and tells you, give me all your money and your phone and everything else, that's a different story. But also people also need to look at police officers a little differently. Quit looking at them just as cops. They're a guy with a gun. Okay? The fact of the matter is, if they've got a gun and you don't, they win.
Yeah, that's
I don't care who it is. What I'm simply saying is, if I walk in here one day and I tell Terry, hey, me and you are going to go outside, and Terry says, I've got a gun, I go, hey, you know what? You win. And it doesn't matter what that's what I'm saying. Look at people, quit looking at it as it's a cop that's harassing me. It's a person with a gun who, on top of that, has the power or the backing of the government.
The authority.
Has the authority of the government. But by the way, if you can comply, if it's a reasonable request and you require, just comply and be done with it and get done. So,
There's a better way to fight that. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about the debate the other night. Because that was, I believe, it's not just the first, it's the last debate between.
You don't think they offered up, and I don't know if that's.
I don't.
Harris' campaign wants another debate.
Yeah.
On ABC News with those two same people.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's going to be another debate. I don't think
it was a mugging.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, the moderators basically tried their best to bait Donald Trump in every way that they could.
There was no fact checking on her.
And he fell for it.
He fell for it. Donald Trump. Yep. Donald Trump. Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Donald Trump fell for it. Harris sat there and recited word salad, rehearsed lines.
Yes. You could tell she'd spent a lot of time getting ready for this debate.
She spent a whole week off the campaign trails studying for this.
Yeah.
And whether they had the questions ahead of time or not, it sure seemed like it. Well,
they were predictable. They were very predictable questions.
Whether they were given the questions ahead, they were predictable.
And I was listening to Mark Davis on the radio I listen to him in the mornings, but on the way here, and he was talking about this. He said, look, she probably didn't get the questions, but caller called in and said, yeah, look, she was prepared. She was, briefed or whatever. He goes, no, probably not. But they knew what the questions probably would be, and so did Trump. Yep. So it didn't take rocket science. The only thing, one of the big ones is that he was fact checked. She was not. There was not a single time they said, oh well, hey,
the Project 2025. They didn't say anything on the bloodbath thing. The fine people on both sides. Yeah, they just let that go. Yeah, I agree. But Trump look, they didn't help. This guy needs to pull his ego in a little bit. And I said this I think he would have. I don't know that he would have won the last election, but had he pulled his ego down and turned his rhetoric down about 20%, he possibly could have won the last election or not. Right. But the fact is, if you notice, the number one thing he got upset about was the size of his rallies. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got more mad about that. And then on the first debate, when Biden questioned his golf game, he got more mad about that. That is his ego talking right there. I still think he's going to be a better president than her, obviously.
Wait. Let's look at that for a minute, a little objectively, though. What is it that you remember about certain things? Things that you have something that sparks an emotional reaction, number one. I'm talking about what do we remember when we watch a whatever the situation is, whether it's a debate or a fight or somebody getting arrested, whatever. What you do is you remember things that give you an emotional response and things that are out of the ordinary. What the hell does how often has that ever been brought up about the number of people at your rallies? And that's just not brought up in a normal debate.
Never, because
and that's why we remember the golf. It's not that it was that big a deal.
No, but his reaction was. I think it was his biggest reaction. But I think it was his biggest reaction. I think
that's debatable, but I get it.
What you have in Donald Trump?
Go ahead and let's debate it now. Let's get a moderator out here. Yeah. So get old hairpiece. Does that guy look like if you called Central Casting and said, "Hey, send me a typical news anchor"? Did that guy not look like a goddamn news anchor? Hi, I'm your news anchor here.
Well, anyway, what I was going to say is that Trump, though.
My name is Robert Toupee.
But he didn't. He was just. He got caught up in all this other stuff.
Well, sure.
He just jumped off message, and I don't know. He just could have done better. I know what it was.
Could have done a lot better.
Wait a minute. One thing. No, I think he stayed away from any. I think he really stayed away from that many personal attacks on her. He should have. He should have.
Yeah, I agree. He did not.
I think he held back. You could tell, and he would have done this. And I don't know if he took somebody's advice or he was not typical Trump in that way. And I was just real surprised.
Well, he was sticking to criticizing her record, her
which is good,
her lack of action.
But he did that. He just got on. He should have hammered it on more. Now, the two things that I think that he did great. Number one is when he said, "Why don't we leave right now and go to the White House? We'll go down to Washington D.C. right now. Wake your boss up and have him close the border right now." Yeah. That was a good idea. And then his final statement when he held, I think he should have said it earlier and then reiterated it. That's in an old debate terms. You state something. If you have a POW, you kind of state your POW early. You go on and then you re-POW again at the end. You POW. And he should have, when he said, "You've been there 3.5 years. You say you're going to do all this."
Exactly. He didn't.
And you haven't done it.
Right. He didn't hit that
and
enough.
I think he should have hit that in about the first 15, 20 minutes of the debate and then re-hit it again later.
Right. But the thing was that on that point about him, hey, let's go and find your boss and get him to sign a bill. Like, well, you if you've watched Schoolhouse Rock, you know that's not how it works.
Executive order.
No, he can do executive order.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that's how Trump closed the border.
No, I know, but he was saying a bill. How many times did he say a bill? Just have him sign a bill. You know. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it wasn't technically correct.
Terry's Trump.
Yeah. He wasn't technically correct, but the spirit of it, you know.
What you have in Donald Trump is you have a guy who's accustomed to being a very competitive person in a lot of ways. Well. And has a naturally, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but a naturally combative attitude about things. It's in his nature
I agree.
to be a competitive and somewhat combative individual. He knows what he wants. He knows what his goals are. He wants to reach those goals, and he doesn't want anybody in his way. And people who do get in his way, he's going to fight you, or he's going to try to anyway.
Yeah.
Now, I think you can say that of a lot of politicians, but Donald Trump is not a career politician. No. Donald Trump didn't spend 2 or 3 terms in the House and Senate and then run for president. Right. He didn't serve as a governor of New York or anywhere else. He went from being a businessman and an entertainment/media mogul to being president of the United States.
Yeah. Overnight. Well,
pretty
not overnight, but in a very short period of time.
In a matter of months, he went from this position to this position without any of the usual in between. Most of the people that we see in politics
have the training.
Have been in the political game, and they've served as a governor, they've served as a senator, they've served as a representative. They've been involved in structured government activities.
They served as a dog catcher.
Right. They've done something structured,
which is the very single thing that I think is why people attract to him, or he's attracted.
I was going to say,
right, they attract. Yeah, he's attractive to them, and all of us. He's like, he's not in the system.
Everybody that's critical about his behavior, his how he talks or whatever, that's part of his attraction to people.
Because
he sounds and looks more like you and I than the other guy in the suit does, or the other gal in the suit does.
He does, but if he could dial it back just a little bit and stay on message.
I agree.
That's the problem. That's the problem. He didn't stay on message. But
I think you're in an environment where that kind of passion gets misconstrued and twisted by the other side. They're going to use it against you. Mm-hmm. They're going to use it against you. And so, you have to dial things back a little bit. And
stay on message. That's the biggest thing. Stay on message.
I think especially when you're in a debate like that, it's important to stay as measured. And like you said, you give the big body shot at the beginning and you give it again at the end. But stay measured throughout.
Yeah. Well,
don't let emotions get a hold of you.
Even if you get emotional stuff, like I said, stay on message. But it really doesn't matter, guys. All this doesn't matter now because the election's over. Taylor Swift is officially endorsed Kamala Harris.
There you go. Yep.
Yes. So a woman who has made a career out of singing songs about all the mistakes that she's made.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Is going to tell me who to vote for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
go back to preschool, child.
By the way, how many of her fans are old enough to vote?
Oh God, I don't know.
I know there's plenty, but
there's a lot. But see, there's a case where I think she has appeal. I mean, you can dig in and find dirt on any body at all.
Yeah. But she's the biggest pop star in the world right now.
Right. But she didn't have to do anything. No. She should have said nothing because her appeal now, I'm sure, for a small percentage of people, and of course, it slants female, right? I'm guessing
her audience.
Her audience,
I would think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so,
have you ever been to a Taylor Swift concert?
No.
Have you ever been to a Taylor Swift concert?
If she were playing in my backyard, I would not look out the window to watch her.
Yeah. I have no desire to
charge her high rent.
Oh, you damn right I would.
Look, she's a talented person
by the hour.
She is a talented performer, and she's a very successful performer. I will give her all the props in the world for that, but she's not my cup of tea.
But though, the people, everything I've heard is she's just a super nice person.
I've always heard that as well.
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
I can never get that right. Keanu Reeves. It's just a really
the guy like this?
Decent, nice human being. And having the status that they do. And that's what her appeal is. I'm sure she's talented, but there are people, a lot of her attraction is a great deal to do with that. And all she had to do is shut up. I don't care. Yeah. If you like her, just state. You've just lost some part of it if you're.
You have. I agree.
So.
Well,
it's a choice you make.
I know.
If you made a choice, and that's fine.
The single biggest country music artist, I think, in modern times is George Strait.
Oh, yeah.
Bar none, George Strait.
Garth Brooks and George Strait.
Oh, Garth
Brooks was he was bigger than George Strait for a period of time.
He was a flash in the pan.
I agree. I agree with you over this generation.
But when have you ever heard George say anything controversial? When have you ever heard George get political? When have you ever heard anything about him that was hyper negative in any way, shape, or form? Yeah. He goes out on stage. He sings it. He plays his guitar. He sings his songs. He doesn't jump all over the place. He doesn't have some rigging picking him up off the ground and dropping him down. He doesn't do all that crap. He goes out, he performs, he does his job, and he leaves. That's it.
Well, he understands that both Republicans and Democrats buy tickets.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
And if you choose not to, Taylor Swift has a right. Yeah. The good news is, though, I get to cancel out Taylor Swift's vote.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she only gets one.
All right.
Yeah. We hope.
Yeah, depends on where she is. No, I don't get it. But you think about it, she only gets one. So all these endorsements are great. Yeah. But Bobby Kennedy only gets one. Tulsi Gabbard only gets one.
But you know.
Liz Cheney gets one.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney gets one. The craziest one, did you see where Kamala Harris said, I was endorsed by Dick Cheney? And I'm thinking, people on the right don't like Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Well, she dropped this. She
What
dropped.
Republican likes Dick Cheney?
She dropped Bush's name, Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
Who else was it?
I don't know.
There was another Republican name that she dropped. Oh, McCain.
McCain. Well,
McCain
who
fan.
can't vote?
Yeah.
I'll vote him this time right now.
I hope he doesn't
Yeah.
vote.
So yeah, if he's in Louisiana, he might have a chance to. He goes, but yeah, I don't like Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney saying they're going to endorse you. I'm like, okay,
So what?
I think that's a pretty much a zero burger for almost anybody.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
And by the way, how many times did people of Kamala Harris's party call Dick Cheney Darth Vader and Hitler and all that
yeah.
sort of stuff?
Yeah.
But now he's endorsing you so he can be part of the family.
It's good. Yeah.
He's welcome over to the cookout now because he endorsed you.
Exactly.
Well, you got to watch out. Don't go hunting with that man, right?
No. Better be behind him when he shoots.
There you go.
For sure. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up here. How about that? Thank you for joining us for this episode of Get It Right Texoma. It's brought to you by Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles at 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls. Since 1966, your power sports authority here in North Texas and Southern Oklahoma.
We talked about the toy drive?
We haven't yet. We talked about it last time.
Yeah, right, but
we'll hit it in a minute.
Yeah, just remember the toy drive.
We're gonna have information on the Eddie Hill's Toy Drive on our website, getitrighttexoma.com, and on our Facebook page, so be looking for it there. You'll find more information about it there. EddieHillsFunCycles.com is their website. MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, Suite 3B. We record our podcast in the MacTech Solutions podcast studio, MacTech-Solutions.com. Yep. If you need repairs on any Apple products, this is the place to bring it. I have responded to no less than 3 people on social media in the last week that said, "Hey, my iPhone screen is broken, my iPad's doing this, or my Mac computer's doing this." I send them right over here. This is the only place to go. Apple authorized service provider, right here. Okay,
and they sell stuff too.
That's right. They do sell everything but the iPhone. It's the only thing they don't sell, Apple. Again, MacTech-Solutions.com. And also brought to you by Lolly and Pop's Sweet Shop. Your online deliciousness is Lolly and Pop Sweet Shop. Online at lpsweet.com and also on Facebook at Lolly and Pop Sweet Shop, LOLLIE, Lolly and Pop Sweet Shop. So thank you again for joining us. Again, be sure to visit our website, getitrighttexoma.com, our Facebook page, and share this across all your social media platforms, and give us your feedback as well. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care. We'll see you down the road.